Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, we've still got a few things to get settled, but barring any unexpected surprises, we should at least be able to make landfall in Gartrafal's Calamity. That said, let's jump right in. And first things first, let's collect our new prizes. Nothing new from the Drusians, but we can now collect the rest of our prizes from the Explorators, which just leaves these 3 tiers unlocked. And I do have vague plans on how we can do that without too much more work. But for now, we just collect what's already on offer, starting with Smiter, a unique power pick. Honestly, not terrible, but I don't think we'll be using it. Bag with Stimulants, which gives a full heal chaser to Carnival of Misery. Again, not bad, but as aforementioned, the Cloak of Death from Above is just a permanent fixture on kibbles, for very obvious reasons. Mars Pattern Thunderhammer, high-end power hammer, which also has a unique ability, hefty auto-crits versus prone or stunned targets. Which is intriguing. I mean, there are some potential possibilities there, but it does require jumping through some weird hoops and kind of pulls focus off of Abby's whole frontline tank thing. He's built more for defense than offense. Sadly, I think this will just go in storage, but we will hold on to it. Next up, we've got the Portable Deflector. The wearer auto-dodges the first hit from each attacker per combat. The only real downside being that it's a pocket slot item, and our pockets are pretty full these days. Oh, then we've got the Warworld Tempestus Elite Carapace. And this is something we will definitely use. Aside from just having great base stats, it gains even more deflection as a base armor property, scaling off of Carouse, so this is an automatic get for Abby. I'd have to double check the math, but I'm pretty sure this will put him, like, at 20 deflection? Plus, I suppose he's also got that plus 30% dodge, but that's less of a big deal on a heavy armor build, especially for a character we want parrying, not dodging. But, you know, we'll take it. Followed by another great upgrade. The Soul Pattern Longlaz. An Earth-made precision laser rifle, which is just a straight upgrade over our Deadly Repeater. Granted, the Deadly Repeater does have that 30% proc chance for a second attack per round, but it comes up so rarely, and even when it does, I tend to either not notice because it's, you know, there's nothing to draw attention to it, or I've already spent all of my AP because I plan my turns around using every AP for various other things. So, you know, while in theory I do hate giving up that second potential attack, I don't think ultimately we're really losing much in the grand scheme of things. Aside, I suppose, from that 3% extra dodge reduct. And I can definitely get over that. I mean, the 50% boost on damage more than makes up for it. Which brings us to Caspelika, and I've got to say, pretty underwhelming stuff, especially in comparison to what we just picked up. We've got some consumables, we've got the Inquisitor's Badge of Office, auto-pass on coercion tests. And I mean, I do like the idea of auto-passing select skill checks, but I'm just not sure we use coercion enough to really make it worth it. Then we've got the Heliarch's Gloves, which ignore cover efficiency. Drukhari only, so that's just vendor trash. The Incinerator, a high-end force sword, which inflicts warp burn. The Tyrant, a high-end needle pistol, which inflicts all DOT types. That one, on paper, isn't bad at all, especially for a one-handed pistol. The main downside being that we just don't have any pistol mains in our active party. Though I might toss that to Chai. We do have her companion quest coming up, so she will be in the field at least a little. We've got Demolitionist's Goggles, which allows a reroll on failed demo checks. skill rerolls aren't bad, but I will note our current demolitionist has a head the size of like a pumpkin, so that's not going to fit. We have yet to find an actual Space Marine helmet, though I think there is one buried pretty far down the Drusian track. The Breacher's Bracers. When the wearer pushes the target, they inflict plus 10% damage versus that target for the rest of the round. Too fiddly. Not really competitive enough with other hand slot items. The Ryza Pattern Astartes Chainsword. High-end chainsword for Ulfar. Tempting. I mean, that is double the damage potential of his knife. But it would give up that potential extra AP per round. And finally, the Saboteur's Helmet. Drukhari-only helmet, suffer less damage from area attacks, and a free grenade toss every round. That would have actually been pretty good if we had actually taken Marazai, but we didn't, so, again, just trash. We could give it to early ad, I just don't really see it being worth it at this stage. And that's it. Couple of good upgrades in there. And I will now note, it was very important for us to pick that stuff up first, because we are now about to slightly tank our profit factor with heirs. The powerful governor of the orbital palace station of Weta Weta has been sentenced to death by Lord Inquisitor Calcazar. Now is a good time to send agents to his domain to partake in dividing the late governor's fortunes, such as his phlogiston mines on the planet Kirn. That'll give us a slight bump on phlogiston. Is that multiplied, or is that just a flat 3? Ah, just a flat 3. But still enough for us to do at least 1 or 2 more colony projects. Speaking of which, let's hop over there and tank our profit factor a little bit more, for we are going for Captive Xenos. You know, I was reluctant, but it turns out that we apparently have more than enough security to actually absorb that massive 5-point loss. We're currently sitting at 22 security on Viabo 6, so I may have overcompensated a bit there. This will bring it down to 17, but that still leaves us with a pretty comfortable margin. Plus 18 more people, which will, I think, be multiplied by the various modifiers. Acquiring captives from the enemies of humanity for use in forced labor is a possible way to replenish the workforce. Nice to have a use for all these Drukhari we keep beating down. I would normally feel bad about tossing people into work camps, but they do seem to enjoy suffering, so, you know, might as well oblige. So that's net minus 6 profit factor, but we are now at 51 people. We'll immediately put that to use with Extractium Ignifera. That'll cost us 6 of our newly acquired Drukhari, and give us 12 Promethium in return, which we do kind of need. We are getting into the danger zone there. Transuranium's value is such that its open-pit mining will be worth the thousands of lives lost to radiation exposure. I'm sure they'll be fine. And up to 41 Promethium. Though we will pass on this one for now. And then as for our Tier 5 capstone projects, we need Fellowship Rep, we need Xenos Intoxicant, which itself is Kaspalika. And then this one needs Drusian Rep, which we're not even close on. Which is fine, because I think we're actually going for this one, which would grant Master of the Shadowy Expanse, plus 10 on all mental attributes. Not to mention that hefty plus 7 profit factor, which would more than offset what we just burned. Though, short term, jumping over to Kiava Gamma, we'll go ahead and do up Tools of Killing. That uses 2 of our very valuable mechanisms, but nets us 3 profit factor back. Retrofitted mining equipment may be of interest to the pirates of the Expanse. It does not take a brilliant mind to turn a mining laser into a weapon. I mean, not necessarily just pirates, it's dangerous times. Gotta make sure people can defend themselves. A lot of Drukhari out there. After that, we'll do Sacred Flame. That'll cost us some Promethium and chemicals, but restock us on weapons. Passing through distillation plants and a multitude of filters, raw materials with high energy potential will be transformed into combustible Promethium. Once the proper liturgies have been served, it will be employed as the Emperor's burning wrath. Neat. We will not do that one. We don't currently need it. And then we've got these two, Dark Experiments and a Mechanical Trade, which are mutually exclusive. One favors the Imperial Navy and grants a boatload of mechanisms, which would push us back out of the danger zone. And the other is keyed to Kaspalika, is significantly cheaper, but also gives us much lesser rewards. A short-range plasma side mount, and +5 to crit versus Xenos, as well as some rep with Kaspalika, which would be nice, but we can definitely get elsewhere. Not to mention going with the Mechanical Trade also nets us a solid shield upgrade for the RetconRaider. So yeah, I think the Imperial Navy clinches this one. The Imperial Navy has sustained heavy losses. They are willing to provide valuable machinery in exchange for trained tech priests. Always happy to spread the Omnisci's influence. Which I suppose just leaves our rank 5 capstones, 2 of which we have unlocked. The Power of Plasma, which would get us yet more mechanisms, and Warp Revelation. Though between those two, I do think the mechanisms are more appealing. Plus, that would also net us the Sacrament of Light, which is a definite engine upgrade for the RetconRaider. Our current speed, I think, is 13. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to commit to that yet, because Sky Barrier also offers some decent rewards. A bump to minimum range weapon damage, a halfway decent macro cannon, a boatload of weapons, but perhaps most notably, 20,000 rep with the Explorators, which would be enough to cap us out. The only real downside being that in order to do that one, we have to do Holy Ammunition on Foulstone, which requires Drusian rep, and we're close, but we're not quite there just yet. So yeah, I think we're going to sit on this one for now, because I do think we're going to go for Sky Barrier. I would like that engine, but at the same time, I'm also starting to plan around, you know, trying to max out all the factions for endgame, since I think that does end up coming into play. Anyway, that's it for colonies, that's it for gear. Archer Falls Calamity awaits. Completely new warp route. We'll go ahead and temper that difficulty. But not entirely, as always. We do kind of want to have random encounters. We need the cargo. And here we go. Oh.
Lord Captain, an urgent message. Our enforcers have arrested a dangerous saboteur who attempted to gain entry onto the bridge. This incident may be worthy of your attention. You see, both the saboteur and the circumstances of his capture are rather strange.
You cannot tell if Vigdis sounds baffled or worried.
I think it would be reasonable for Magos Pascal to take a look at him as well.
Why are you being so vague? This is hardly the first saboteur we've had to deal with. What makes this one so unusual?
The thing is, Lord Captain, the saboteur is most definitely a tech priest. He found his way aboard the ship and penetrated all our security systems with staggering ease. Both his ability to communicate with machine spirits and the combat potential of his augmentations are extraordinary. Nevertheless, the enforcers managed to capture him. During the arrest, the intruder, he offered no resistance at all. Instead, he asked for an audience with the Great Machine Spirit. When he realized that the enforcers had no idea what he was talking about, he asked to meet with you. I considered it necessary to apprise you of the situation.
Oh, he's here to see Nomos. Interesting.
This infiltration of a rogue trader's ship operated by authorized engine seers cast doubt on my tech comrade's stability. If he is indeed my tech comrade, that is. Regardless, I request permission to communicate with the captive.
By all means, Pascal. I suspect we may have just met another of your erstwhile siblings. The fabled Hanu men. Vigdis, I'm on my way. Pask, you're with me.
Understood, Lord Captain. The saboteur will be brought to you.
Alright, so I guess we're doing this instead of Garterfall's Calamity, but that's fine. It's something new. And potentially very important to the plot. The group of servitors, whose movements are suspiciously well synchronized, stares at the towering prisoner. You do not need to hear them speak to recognize Nomos, who has seen fit to attend the interrogation. So Nomos knows this guy is here for him. The captured man, if he can be called that, looks positively gigantic next to the enforcers at his side. Deadly-looking metal gleams dimly beneath his faded crimson robes. His hands are folded obediently, and his mechadendrites are perfectly still.
I greet the master of this vessel cathedral, and offer my humble apologies for this unbidden intrusion. My apologies to you as well, brother.
The interloper inclines his head in the direction of the frowning Pascal. Then the prisoner turns slightly and looks straight at Nomos' observing servitors.
And of course, I must beg forgiveness from you, Great Spirit. It was not my intent to desecrate your temple.
Well, guess cat's out of the bag on that one. Before I decide whether to grant forgiveness or not, I'm going to need to know who you are and why exactly you've come here. Nothing personal. I'm always happy to meet another servant of the Omnissiah, but we've had a bit of a nasty history with uninvited guests.
My name, if it matters, is Asclepius, formerly a computator general of the Cognizance Fleet, now a Liber recluse, with the status of Maletech. Maletechs are exiles whose ideas have not crossed the line of heresy, yet have come close to it. They are removed from the fleet structure to give them a chance to see the folly of their ways, and to prevent sedition from spreading.
Pascal's voice sounds unusually alarmed.
All of that is trivial. My past is nothing but a set of archive data. My lost status is a part replacement string in the long chronicle of the Cognizance Fleet. I come not as the priesthood's messenger, but as a faithful disciple of the most holy Amarnat.
Oh, wow. Okay, so wait, is Amarnat actually associated with Nomos? There's a twist I didn't see coming.
My brother once served as the engine seer prime on this ship.
Asclepius gestures around him reverently.
He was an adherent to the school of discontinuing the cycle, as am I.
Oh, snap. The original engine seer for the RetconRaider. Yeah, we never actually met that guy. He died off screen. But it does make sense if they're tying these two separate plot threads together, since he would also have been... Actually, that would explain how Asclepius even knows about Nomos in the first place, because the engine seer would have had to work with Theodora to even get Nomos installed in the first place. Which actually implies that Theodora was working with a number of Malotechs, the Exsellsior, Amernot, and, of course, Cubist Delphine.
It has spread that far.
It is difficult to discern Pascal's emotions from his tone.
I know that my brother perished. But before he did, he sent me a message that told of a journey embarked upon by Theodora von Valancius. A journey through a dimensional gate, an artifact more ancient than humanity itself, then towards worlds unknown. The blessed Amernot was with her.
Okay, so Amernot was part of Theodora's retinue, at least for a while.
There, upon those dark worlds, he witnessed a great miracle. The birth of a machine spirit of incalculable might. My brother believed that this spirit then fell aslumber within this ship, like a child in a cradle, not responding to lowly pleas. That was the purpose of my pilgrimage. To reach the ship where my brother died, the ship upon whose decks the blessed Amernot had walked, and prostrate myself before the Great Spirit.
Holy moly, I was not expecting Pascal's subplot to overlap so heavily with the main arc. So you're saying Amernot worked with Theodora?
Yes, he did. My brother's words on this were clear. Years ago, Amernot was part of rogue trader Theodora's inner circle, before their ways parted.
This is the first I'm hearing of it. Please, tell me more.
My knowledge of it is scarce. My brother suspected that his memory, along with the memory of all who might have known the details, had been purposefully modified. He saw it as a sign that the journey had revealed a great truth. And there were those who did not wish to see that truth brought to light.
Right, yes. Nomos suggested the same. That the senior staff had its memory wiped to erase the details of Theodora's grand plot. So at this point, I think it's probably safe to say that is indeed what happened. The question being, who would actually do that? I'd say there's currently 3 prime suspects. Theodora herself, of course, to keep whatever she found to herself. Conrad, in an effort to steal whatever she found. Or possibly Calcazar, who was keeping close tabs on Theodora during their erstwhile partnership. It might actually explain why she was so paranoid. Perhaps he saw whatever she had found and sought to somehow deprive her of it, to take it himself or to simply destroy it. Honestly, that's probably what happened to Amernot too, now that we know that he was also part of Theodora's retinue.
All that he conveyed to me was that Theodora had reached worlds unlike any the people of the Coronis Expanse had ever seen. There she unearthed a great treasure of technology, one that Amernot had the privilege of experiencing.
So obviously it's your brother who told you about this great spirit. But what exactly did he tell you? What do you know about it?
It is a great miracle. The Omnissiah's breath meant to help us discontinue the cycle. It was born of the treasure that Amernot and Theodora discovered upon the dark worlds. Yet even a being so glorious needs attendants and guides. And as long as the Cognizance fleet is racked by schism, and my brothers and sisters suffer defeats without end, there is no one to aid the spirit. That is why I came here.
Right. Does the name Nomos sound familiar?
No, it does not.
He has not come to know us yet. He will if you let him, Valen. We know. We sense that his words are about us. That the story he has told is our story.
You're obviously very capable. You went through a lot of trouble to pierce our security. Why surrender the second you were caught?
I took a vow that I would never inflict physical harm upon lay people. The Omnissiah grants us the power of the true flesh for a purpose other than damaging the frail and blind creatures that are all who have not yet tasted his knowledge.
Oh, okay. So a tech pacifist. Interesting. All right, Asclepius, I can't say I'm happy with all your answers, but I think I've heard enough to pass initial judgment.
Whatever it is, I will accept it. As will I, and yet I plead that my brother be shown leniency. His story initializes thought.
We ask you to keep him for us.
Nomos' servitors speak up suddenly, in the faintest of whispers. From across the room, past Asclepius. Well, I certainly wish you had simply announced yourself, so that we could have discussed this face-to-face in the first place. You took no actions to harm me or my crew, and provided, of course, that you're willing to share how you bypassed our security systems, I will tentatively allow you to remain. Barring, of course, any future incidents.
I could not ask for more. All I wish is to remain in these halls and observe in reverence the Great Spirit's deeds. Let the cycle be discontinued.
Nomos' servitors turn their heads to you and nod all at once, in what can be interpreted as an expression of gratitude. Very intriguing. Hey, Cece, what's up, baby? How you doing, girl? Such a cutie. All right, let's go have a follow-up with Nomos. And I guess Asclepius? No, we cannot actually talk directly to Asclepius. The massive figure of the Malachek Asclepius is frozen before the cogitator in a praying pose. Without raising his head, he addresses you.
I salute the ruler of this ship.
Asclepius, I see you've met Nomos.
I have met a miracle, and the end of my worldly road. I have never seen and never will see anything more meaningful than the spirit of Nomos. In the face of its multitude, we are all nothing but the fixed values of an erroneous function.
Wait, is that it? No, there's got to be more than that. Nomos, have you come to any new conclusions? Oh, wait, yes. Okay, here we go. Yeah, they buried it. Wow. Could have possibly missed that. Nomos falls silent. Symbols race chaotically across the screens of the huge cogitator, and you hear an almost human groan coming from the depths of the machine.
Nomos understand, realize, comprehend themselves.
For a moment there is silence, broken only by the moans of the huge machine. And then the cyber gargoyle begins to speak, and with it the other servitors chosen by Nomos.
We have analyzed the data with which you sated us, and we have recreated the sequence of events. First, there was Epitaph. It is a world, but it is merely a case, a container, for something we cannot name and cannot understand. Theodora and this ship have been to that place. Something was lifted up from the world. A gift. A trusted priest in crimson, one who identified himself as Amernaut, comprehended the gift raised from Epitaph. and from it he created what the databanks list as a tech blight.
Oh, okay, so the tech blight recovered from this world, experimented on Kiava Gamma, deployed as a weapon on the Fiery Reckoning, intentionally or otherwise destroying Cruderok. But where do Nomos and the Data Angels come in?
But that is not how Nomos came into being. We were not invented. We were not freed. We came into being by accident.
The chorus of servitors sound genuinely confused, almost desperate.
Theodora's ambition, the myriad mechanisms of the huge ship, Amarnot's mind, the inquisitive attempts to comprehend and extract, the dormant blight, the dormant epitaph, what lies hidden in its depths, and between it all, we slipped in, connected, and emerged like an electrical discharge between the poles. Accident, incident, that is what we are. We have no purpose, no history. Nomos just are.
Uh-oh, we've got a bit of an existential crisis brewing. Might be a bit of a problem. Focus, Nomos. What do you know about this epitaph? Do you know where it is?
The data is gone, deleted, erased, deliberately. But we cannot trace who did it or why.
Yeah, that is a big question mark right now. What about this tech blight? What can you tell me about that?
A gift, but a terrible one. You would call it a weapon. Theodora coveted it. She needed it desperately. But we do not know why.
Yeah, that is also a good question. It ultimately ended up destroying Cruderok, but we don't know if that was intentional, or just the Eldari and their tendency towards self-destructive, self-fulfilling prophecy. Not sure what else you would try using it for, though. To destroy her rivals? Kalkazar? Komora? How exactly does Amarnot fit into all this?
He desired knowledge. Theodora allowed him to explore the gifts of Epitaph, slaking his thirst. But we know it did not bring him happiness. In the footprints of his slaked thirst, fear followed.
The blessed Amarnot was involved in the birth of the spirit named Nomos. I do not believe for a moment that he could have been frightened by this miracle.
It was not us he feared. He did not know us, but only suspected. His mental processes were occupied by the tech blight. That was what he feared. He wanted protection from it.
Yeah, that does make sense. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think I've got a theory here. Let me just, power through the rest of this before I start spinning out. Okay, so this ship, the RetconRaider, went to Epitaph, found the tech blight, inadvertently created you. And now everyone involved is either dead, missing, or has no memory of it.
Yes, the truth was hidden. Deliberately. Your officer's memories were stolen. All the cogitators' memory banks were wiped. It took you feeding us the truth bit by bit for us to piece it together and understand.
Who has the resources, the knowledge, and the power to accomplish such a feat? It would have been beyond the capabilities of the blessed Amarnot himself. And he would never destroy knowledge. This story disturbs me. It sounds like an echo of the sacrilege, whose name is the preservation of ignorance. The spirit of Nomos must be protected from the encroachment of that power that tried to conceal the truth of its birth.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree. And at this point, I do think that that is, in fact, Kalkazar. He would have the resources and the influence to have done that. And certainly a reason as well. In fact, well, hold on. You may not have been created intentionally, but you do still have a purpose.
Then tell us, what is our purpose?
The same as any other life form, new or otherwise. To live, to learn about yourself and the world around you. People may set goals for themselves, but that's something separate. Life, in and of itself, has no need to justify its mere existence.
To simply live.
The chorus of servitors dutifully repeats your words, but seemingly without understanding them. Nomos is preoccupied. The huge cogitator continues to sing its creaking song, running unknown calculations.
Blessed be the Spirit. A great path and a great future lie before it, and we must assist it on its way.
Yeah, that does seem to be what it's all boiling down to. I guess that's it for Nomos. Let's go check in with Pask real quick. See if he has anything for us. Also, Abel? We haven't gotten anything new from him in quite a while. Pask?
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all.
Nothing.
May your labors be...
Abel? Nope, nothing there either. Alright, I'm going to mull on that for a moment. Let's poke our heads in on Gartrafal's calamity. Actually, how about Heinrich's?
To what do I owe this visit?
No, nothing. Okay. Please stand by. Processing data. No connecting sectors. Let's poke our head in. Lord Kenton, we've arrived in Phaeton 4's system. Our translation from the warp was a little rough. A net loss of about 500 souls on the middle and service decks. And God Emperor only knows how many wounded. But that's only the half of it. The brain boxes on the augers are sending me reports that aren't doing my mood any favors. Real space here's got more holes than a sieve, and all our sensors are playing up. It's gotta be sorcery, Lord Kenton. If I was you, Lord Kenton, I'd do what I came here to do right sharpish and clear out. Well, we still can. I've seen the likes of this before in this same region. Maybe your sorcerers will be able to explain it better, but here's what I know. Shit like this never ends well. Yeah. Well, this is actually kind of weird because those look like Drukhari ships. But we're also seeing obvious signs of chaos, sorcery. Oh. The surface of the star shimmers with a myriad of hues. The dance of colors fascinates any who dare glance at it. The playful colored patterns appear on the vessel's augers in a wide variety of spectra, from infrared to ultraviolet. Every voidsman knows that such emissions are dangerous to organic matter. And Master Helmsman Ravor asks the crew to resist the desire to admire the star. Not everyone manages to follow his advice, and some crew members suffer from nausea and headaches. Okay, we saw something like this play out back on Amber World. I am curious, but I think it's probably for the best if we block out those colors from out of space. Oh, and that's it. Okay, well, we'll take that as a good sign. I mean, even if we assume it wouldn't cause people to spontaneously mutate, staring at the sun is just a bad idea in general. Let's scout these planets real quick. 7 Promethium, okay. Oh, shoot. We never did get a restock on Extractiums for Act 4. Oh boy, that might be an issue. Yeah, there were no new projects that I saw that offered Extractiums. Okay, I think after we're done here, we're going to have to set our sights on Footfall next. Both for Jai's thing, but also to see if Opticon is restocked on Extractiums. Otherwise, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Anyway, so theory. I feel pretty good about saying Kalkazar is behind the memory wipes. I suspect that whatever Theodora and her retinue found, Kalkazar found out about and decided to take for himself. In fact, he might even be behind. He might be the one behind the destruction of Kruderok. That might have been him using his influence and resources to essentially co-opt Von Valancius resources to create a weapon to destroy an Eldari craft world. I do suspect that's what drove Theodora towards her more extreme bouts of paranoia. It's likely also why she brought on that psychic heir. I'm blanking on the name, but that might have also just been to help restock her astropathic choir after the Wise incident. And as for Amernot, since one of his followers, our former engine seer, suspected someone had erased the memories of the senior staff, it's possible Amernot suspected the same. That might be why there's all these disparate backups, the Hanu men, of his mind scattered across multiple bodies, which would match up with Brass Whisper being in Inquisitor Kalkazar's retinue, since we suspect that Brass Whisper is the maimed hunter, the mysterious entity hunting down and killing the various Hanu men. Obviously just a lot of speculation right now, but I think it does fit. Though of course things may shift as we find more context and clues. Anyway, one sec whilst I take care of some quick bookkeeping. And we're back. Obviously, after the whole Asclepius thing, we don't have time to do Gartrafal's Calamity today, but I figured we would at least take steps to make sure we're poised right on the cusp, including bringing Heinrichs up to snuff. And I'm not going to lie, I just kind of fudged this. I have no grand plan for him, so I just took whatever felt appropriate. Not necessarily a cohesive build, but one that should be relatively effective. At least for the 1 or 2 missions we're apt to take him on. I've essentially just built him to be kind of a second-rate Abelard, but with slightly more focus on offense. Though, let's be honest. Heinrichs is really just along for the ride. The rest of the party can carry him easy. He's here for the narrative. And then, aside from that, I realized I forgot my new gear. So let's go ahead and get that stuff slapped on. We've got our Soul Pattern Long Last for Val. A nice step up in almost every regard, minus the minus 3% dodge reduct and that oft underutilized chance for a second attack. Ooh, really nice visual upgrade too. Man, look at that thing. That is gorgeous. Val, finally starting to look like a proper rogue trader. And then we've got the War World Tempestus Elite for Abby. Slight visual upgrade. Though obviously the real get here is that whopping 19 in deflection. Slightly lower than I anticipated, but that's because he loses the 10-point toughness bump from the previous set. That, in turn, reduced his carouse, which is what the extra deflection scales off of. And I guess that's it. Yeah, I think we're going to stick with the knife on Ulfar. Lower damage, but that extra AP certainly comes in handy. And we've got the new shields. Let's go ahead and slap that on. And I also upgraded our hull. Alright, let's knock these guys out. They certainly look like Drukhari, but I would like to verify. They are indeed. We've got Drukhari, and they've blocked our systems. That might be a bit of an issue, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, Bloody Claw Cruiser. That's new. Oof, and all of our stations are currently down. Most just for one turn, but shields are down for 3. That's rough. 2 weaker ships off on left. Let's focus down the ads. Play keep away with the big guy. I hate to say it, but Sword 7 might have to take a hit for us. Are we up to 7? Might be 8 soon. I'm sure they'll be fine. Very minor ding on Sigil 1. Also, already paying the price on that shorter range lance. Another minor tag on the Sigil. Cruiser incoming. Starboard shields holding, if just barely. Light ding on our hull. Light tag on our 4. Slightly heavier. Forward shields at about half. Torpedoes out. Guaranteed kill on Sigil 1. Sigil 1 out. Let's push back on the cruiser, buy ourselves some time. Oh, nice. That's about a third of its hull gone. Keep pouring it on. Ah, okay. Shadow field's up. Abort! Abort! This should knock him down below half. Also, buy us some breathing room. Nice, nice. And refocus Sigil 2. Oh, close. Shadowfield's up, but even a single glancing hit will do it. Sigil 2, out. Cruiser making a slow turn. Torpedoes. Oh, so close. Oh, I'm not sure we have an angle, though. Yeah, that's too far, even with range extender. Maintain distance. Bootleg reverse. We'll get him next round. This is risky, but fingers crossed. And Sword 7 going for the martyr move. I'd never ask you to do it, but I do appreciate it. Gosh. Farewell, Sword 7. Your ride eternal, shiny and chrome. And we're good. Rank up, fair bit of loot. Shame about Sword 7, but they knew what they were doing. Just what happens when you soared too close to the sun. And let's go ahead and knock this out real quick. Silent Running 2 is a pretty obvious pick. That'll help avoid enemy alpha strikes. Not sure about the second, though. Some of these don't look familiar. Added by Void Shadows, no doubt. Oh, yeah, lots of stuff related to the new fighter salvos, which we don't really use, though it does seem like they also apply to torpedoes. But I mean, torpedoes are inherently disposable. I'm not too worried about keeping them alive. Definitely not improved RAM. Ramming is just too much of a resource sink. So yeah, I guess steady hand. And that'll unlock tier 2 for next time. We'll take it. And with that, I think we've hit a good place to call it. I'll also say, I do find it interesting that this is the second time we've encountered the Drukhari, specifically targeting a sector that's currently undergoing a chaos incursion. One could argue that it's simply because it makes it a better target of opportunity. The sector's already undergoing a crisis, which makes them less capable of fighting off a Drukhari invasion at the same time. But there was also previous speculation about who the spy in the Von Valancia's camp might be, the one who was feeding information to the Drukhari with Euremerus before her ignominious defeat. We previously suspected Drivestem, but at this point I don't know if that's really the case, considering how he comported himself during the recent events on Dargonis. So I guess really the more obvious answer is that it was probably Conrad. You know, much as the Drukhari might benefit from attacking a target that's already under siege, the forces of the Final Dawn in trying to make a planet fall to the forces of chaos would likewise benefit from having a distraction from the Drukhari. The two aren't necessarily working together, but they're also not necessarily working at cross purposes either. The Drukhari are there for captives, the Cult of the Final Dawn's there for the entire world. Allies of convenience, I suppose? Though, you know, who knows, perhaps there is more to it than that. Though, considering that we've killed most of the key players involved, I do somewhat doubt it. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'll go ahead and take care of some off-screen bookkeeping, make sure we're ready to make landfall, and we'll pick up here next time. He's been stuck on the bench for a while now, but I think it's about time Heinrich's rolled out. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all.